good afternoon to every one of you. It is such a privilege to have dignitaries from 4 different institutions come together for a cause. And the cause is to look at dynamic clinical data and build clinical AI models for, to reach out to humanity. I welcome all the colleagues from press and media for this interactive session, and would like to take it further in that way. Today we have speakers from Apollo Hospitals, we have speakers from ConnectedLife, from Fitbit, and we'll be joined shortly from Alexandra Hospital, Singapore, Dr. Alex. With this, I will now request Dr. Shiv to actually tell us about the journey of AI CBD, or for that matter, the entire clinical AI systems at Apollo Hospitals.
Thank you, Sujoy. Good afternoon, everyone. I can't express that how Thank you, Sujoy. And good afternoon, the press and everyone there. I can't express how excited and happy I am. We started our journey way back in 2017, and I can see the way we are culminating. And today, AI has become a buzzword in most of the health sectors, and everybody is talking about AI this, AI that, and other things. But I'm really excited to say that we were the few lucky enough that we could do the last mile connect. In other words, truly it's democratizing the benefits of AI, because it is touching population, it is touching every individual. So that's the journey which we started way back in 2017, and to tell you that we started this artificial intelligence-based cardiovascular disease risk score. This score primarily strategizes the risk of a person, and it strategizes into 3 buckets like mild, moderate, or severe, and it can predict the possibility of heart attacks in next 10 years. So this is what we could develop in the last few years. Of course, we were not the first one to develop this scores. There were the scores available already, but those scores were developed in western part of the world, and they were extrapolated and applied on South Indian population, South Asian population, I'm sorry. But the results were not satisfactory, and obviously the outcomes were not to the expectation. So we first time used this artificial intelligence based risk score, and the advantage of this score is the accuracy, that is, we call it AUC, area under curve, or in simple terms it's an accuracy. The accuracy of the score is almost the double of the existing scores which are available for the last 4 decades. So that is the one biggest advantage, first thing. Second, it's a dynamic in nature. Most of the scores were static, like at one time, at that point of time, the score is calculated and it remains as it is for the long period of time. Whereas in this, by using the machine learning, we could develop a model which keeps improvising with every data which is feeding in, and it keeps improvising the whole accuracy. So that's the dynamic nature, that is the second best part of it. The third is the existing scores. The existing scores which were there already, which were like traditional models, regression models. In these models, the problem was the risk factors which were selected were by a few group of physicians who selected the risk factors, and the weights were assigned for these factors. So as a result, when the randomized trials were done with these risk scores, the results were not satisfactory, or actually the outcomes were less than 40%, the accuracy was around 35 to 40%. So that's the greatest improvement we could see now, that where we can see the accuracy is up to the tune of 89 to 91%. So this is how we started with our AI program. And of course, the database of 32, we started with 4 lakh patients, 400,000 patients, and eventually we came with this 32,000 patients with these results. The future looks very bright, because we are not stopping only at the predicting the cardiovascular risk scores. We are also going with the heart failure early diagnosis, also the asthmatic links, the COPD things, which can be detected early so that, with the change of season and before itself, we can say that whether who are vulnerable and what best can be done. And there are many other methods also, like the antibiotic usage, because we've seen that so much of the abuse of antibiotics in general population, and as a result, there's a huge amount of antibiotic resistance. In that also, we are using the clinical application of AI, and which will help us reduce the resistance of antibiotics and make the benefit of every human, every citizen.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the kind words. At this moment, I would go to Mr. Darrell to give his address and also demonstrate us how ConnectedLife is integrating AI CBD in their platform and taking it to mass. Thank you.
Sir, Dr. Sujoy, and guests from the media, thank you so much for this opportunity to speak with you today. We are honoured to partner with Apollo Hospitals and integrate their best-in-class clinical AI tools with the ConnectedLife solutions to further advance the digital transformation taking place within the Indian and broader worldwide health ecosystem. ConnectedLife is a Singapore-headquartered health tech organisation and partners with Fitbit to create compelling wearable-based solutions for wellness, condition management and other health-focused applications. The ConnectedLife platform captures and analyses the Fitbit wearable devices and patient-reported data to provide health and wellness insights for individuals and connected population health stakeholders. The unique research and development collaboration between Apollo Hospitals and ConnectedLife not only seamlessly integrates and provides around-the-clock availability of Apollo's clinical AI to all ConnectedLife with Fitbit application users, but also will advance the application capabilities by providing the AI with near real-time continuous longitudinal wellness and health data. For example, breathing rate, heart rate, exercise, sedentary time, sleep, and patient-reported outcomes, and as a result, deliver digital transformation from a point-in-time assessment to one that can be continuous and dynamic in a remote and home setting. As a result of this dynamic ConnectedLife capability, we can enable physicians to design and provide a patient with a personal care plan and digitally monitor patient compliance and objectively measure progression with recommended lifestyle modifications and improvements in the wellness and health vitals, reducing the risk of cardiac disease. Now, I would like us to walk through a demonstration of the platform so we can start to understand the types of data and the process we go through to invoke the Apollo Clinical AI. And if you don't mind, I always like to try and reduce my sedentary time and I'll stand during this part. So what you can basically see is there's three components to basically the ConnectedLife application. There's the clinical dashboard, there's the mobile application for the user, as well as custom clock faces that can be worn on the watch, providing a wellness score, medication reminders, exercise reminders, etc. Now, if we go into this particular patient profile, you can see that continuously real-time heart data, stepped, but also novel applications like a breakdown of my sedentary time throughout the day, as well as my wellness score, where I can start to understand as an individual what is positively and negatively contributing to my wellness on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. In addition, you have exercise, medication compliance, and other forms of novel analytics available to all users. Now, from a clinician's perspective, they can proceed to basically schedule care plans, schedule complex medication or exercise regimes, as well as basically think about what they would like to be objectively measuring. Now, what's critical here is the key point is that already in this system, in the ConnectedLife platform, is much of the data that would be required to power the Apollo clinical AI. And so rather than need to resubmit, invitation can be basically provided to the patient from their clinician, whether that's in a pharmacy setting, a clinic setting, or more formal hospital setting, and the patient can just proceed to provide additional supplementary data that may be missing within the system. Completing this process, The patient is then able to confirm basically how they've, the results, the information that they've provided. And then dynamically, in the back end of the system, we invoke the Apollo Clinical AI, bring it to the hospital data, so the data never needs to leave any of our hospital partners worldwide. So the application comes to the data, keeping that data safe, secure, and protected, and basically then receive the report. So when the report is generated, it is then made available as a document, not just for the clinician, but also for the patient concerned. And we'll see this emerge on the dashboard in the demonstration in one moment in time. So this is a unique capability that we're incredibly excited to be expanding beyond the application of the Apollo Hospitals AICVD risk assessment and into multiple applications. So again, both the clinician and the patient have in parallel the same documentation information to hand, and we're so grateful to basically the support of Apollo Hospitals. The final comment is that all data we're able to fully account for how data is acquired, consumed, and transformed. And this is critically important. So as part of ConnectedLife, we've basically been developing technology to provide secure, trusted, scalable enterprise infrastructure, strict accountability for data acquisition and use, privacy protection. And this will allow ConnectedLife over the coming months to fully integrate and enrich the application of Apollo's clinical AI tools to benefit patients and healthcare partners all over the world. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to have Dr. Alex with us to speak further. Please, Dr. Sujo.
Thank you, Mr. Darrell. That was a wonderful presentation. We have now with us Dr. Alexander Reed, who is the Clinical Director of Healthcare Redesign at Alexandra Hospitals. Alexandra Hospital is one of the most picturesque hospitals in the world, surrounded by beautiful trees around, and they're known for acute care and also for innovations. Those innovations are led by none other than Dr. Alex, who is the Clinical Director for Healthcare Redesign at Alexandra Hospitals. Dr. Alex, all yours.
All right, thanks a lot, Dr. Sujoy and Daryl, for inviting me to this exciting adventure. Can't wait to be part of it. So what I was meant to share was a little bit more about Alexandra's new care model that we are exploring in Singapore, and that particular care model is that of integrated care. So typically in acute settings for hospitals, we tend to look after very sick patients, and then we send them down to community hospitals or step-down hospitals, right? And in the outpatient settings, we basically send patients to various different specialties. So I thought that the easiest way would be to kind of like share one graphic for everyone to take a look. In today's care model, on the left-hand side, you will see the inpatient and the outpatient side of the rings. And you will see that acute hospitals stand away from community hospitals, and specialist care, primary care, and community care are all fragmented in some ways. What we endeavor to do in Singapore, and particularly in Alexandra Hospital, is have an integrated general hospital and an integrated care clinic. In this setting, we see patients, we don't transfer patients out of the hospital down to step-down care. We try to integrate, coordinate, and consolidate their care. And nowhere is this more evident than in the outpatient setting, which will be a much more useful analogy for today's meeting. I'm a gastroenterologist and a hepatologist, but I don't forget my internal medicine. And I would be able to see patients who have heart problems or any other kind of medical problems. And I try to manage them myself, all with close consultation with my specialist colleagues before we send them off. However, most specialist doctors would realize that we can't really know all the different risk scores and whatnot. And this is where leveraging on Apollo AI's clinical AI platform and its growing repository of risk scores would be very beneficial to our model of care, where we practice a a generalist approach that is specialist reinforced. So that's all I want to say. I don't want to take up too much time, so thanks for allowing me to share. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Alex. I would now move on to Mr. Steve Morley, who is the Director of Fitbit Health Solution International and the APAC region. We all know about Fitbit, we all use Fitbit, but now we would get the privilege to hear it from you, sir, about how you look forward to this entire platform and what are merits of getting dynamic data into this clinical AI discourse. You possibly have to unmute yourself.
Thank you for everyone at Apollo. I'm excited to be here, excited by the possibilities that your partnership with ConnectedLife is going to bring in the future. I'd like to congratulate everyone involved in the project. It's central to our mission as a company. Our mission has always been, since the inception of the brand, to help everyone in the world become healthier. We've got a clear purpose. Now we're owned by Google as well, to be the leading health and fitness service powered by their investment in us. We'll continue to expand both our hardware and software offerings as we go forward to bring users the best experiences. We're building a really strong ecosystem of wearables, devices, and importantly, services with strategic partners like ConnectedLife and Apollo. And in the health space, it is our